video presentation, we will be discussing how to be successful when doing business in Japan. Specifically, we will cover two topics: business customs regarding age and gender, as well as constructing business letters. If you're going to do business in Japan, you need to understand their business culture first. In Japanese businesses, formality is above all else. Talking with purpose and not using filler in your business relations is key to being successful. Keep in mind that the gender and age roles in Japan are still vertically segregated, meaning at the top, in executive and high-ranking manager positions, you typically find the older and more experienced as well as males. Sadly, women in manager positions still only account for 11% of the managers. That being said, women are working hard to getting more rights and respect in the workplace. It is tough, however, due to families needing to be raised and childcare not very available, and with the long hours that are expected of you to work, women typically are the ones who are pushed to stay home and take care of the kids. It is very different in other cultures, how we see in America, how women and men strive to go for the top and can create promising careers. Now, why should you know this? It is pretty important going into a country to know their culture and the differences between the genders regarding business. That speaking of age, Japan focuses on long-term employment. Therefore, you join a business, hired on, and you are expected to stay there for majority of your life. Doing so, you will gain increase of payments and benefits. Now, understanding this, you see how it is hard for new employees to really be devoted to their job. It is hard for them want to work hard and strive for other positions. They find themselves being stuck. A lot of Japanese business currently are having problems with getting employees who want to work harder. And essentially it's because everyone is working hard and long hours. However, you are running into the fact that the seniority are still getting paid even if the new employees are putting out more product and more work. We may see this change in the future, as culture is changing in Japan. We do find lots of the younger generation looking for different ways. You may not only have to combat the obstacles of being young and inexperienced or female, you also have to combat the obstacles in the fact that new employees, even if you offer a great many skills as well as work hard, may still be shortly compensated. You are expected actually to work long hours when doing business in Japan. It is actually seen as good and favoring to work these long hours until you no longer have the endurance. It is often seen as good to be the last person at the office. Understanding this may help you understand the hard-working culture that is Japan. Japan respects hard work and diligence. They also respect ingenuity and group thinking. They follow many group thinking policies and activities and do consider that groups are better than working individually. Now, this is favorable in many situations. The second topic we'll be discussing is creating business letters, memos, and emails in Japan. Japan focuses on formality. We have discussed this previously. They also focus on politeness, as we referred to earlier. They do not care so much for fluffiness as well as niceties, but they do prefer good manners. It is actually considered good manners to be polite and to be as formal as possible. Even if it is a coworker who you do get along with, a coworker who you may have known for a while, it is still good and common practice to be polite and formal. When constructing a business letter in Japan, there are a couple key functions you will be following. Remember, formality and politeness will get you far. They also go for quick comprehension. So, putting all the information that they need to know where they need to find it. So putting that at the top and the middle, putting all the meat of your email, memo, or letter containing what they need to know. That leaves the header and the conclusion to be fluffed with politeness and good manners. Typically, there's a seasonal greeting, such as I wish you the best of health as the rainy season comes to an end. That is actually so common that in Microsoft Word in Japan, they do have it set as a saved text slit that you can insert automatically at the beginning or the end of your messages. Following these rules of formality, as well as constructing your emails, memos, and letters in the rules we have explained, will make you successful in Japan. With that, we wish you the best of luck. Konnichiwa.
Hi everyone, my name is Mackenzie and I am also a part of group number 3. The topics I will be discussing today include the currency that is used in Japan, as well as popular food, recreation, and culture. The first thing I'm going to be discussing is the currency that is used in Japan. In Japan, they use yen. 1 yen is equivalent to 500 sen. Coins come in 1 yen, 5 yen, 10 yen, 100 yen, and 500 yen. So for example, 1,000 yens would be equivalent to $8.99 in the US. Cash is the preferred method of payment, especially with small transactions, as not all places in Japan accept card payment. However, the acceptance rate for card payment is increasing in the larger cities. If you have a card that is issued outside of Japan, chances are the ATMs will not accept it. The website on the next slide is a really good traveling aid because it actually allows you to go in, punch in the budget that you're on, how many days you are staying, and how many people are going, and it will actually convert the number of yens that it thinks you will need for your trip, so you don't have to kind of guess about how many you'll need and convert yourself. It's really good for traveling and all other trips, so here is the link for that. Now I'm going to discuss the popular food that they have in Japan. So some of the things include sushi, gyros, tofu, ramen, and they really like their tea that they have there. Of course they have the fast food chains like McDonald's and all that sort of thing, but majority of the food there is going to be Japanese. Before they sit down to eat, a lot of the Japanese say a popular phrase called idakasuma, which means that they are basically thanking whoever prepared the meal for them for their food. Now I'll be discussing the popular recreation and activities that take place in Japan. The first one is a very popular pastime that the Japanese like to do, which is shopping. Their major cities are big tourist destinations because they have so much shopping there. The second one is going to be the live music and sports and cinema that they have there. Sports is a big one for them. Their sumo wrestling especially, that is a very popular one that takes place, along with their theaters and live bands. The third one is going to be alcohol. This is a big one for them. It's just a key to their socializing. If you ever need a refill though, be sure that you do not fill it yourself. Find a family member, coworker, friend to refill your drink, because if you refill it yourself, it could actually be considered rude. The other source for entertainment is called manzai. Manzai is actually a Japanese stand-up comedy. This could be hard for foreigners to understand because the comedy is so based on the Japanese culture, the language itself, so it may be hard for foreigners to understand the jokes and what the Japanese are actually saying. With learning about all the popular food and the culture and the recreation that goes on, I felt that it was important to find some don't do's in public. So here's the first one. The first one is going to be do not tip. That in the Japanese culture, if you tip, is actually considered an insult. Because they are already paid so much of a salary, that's just the way that they've always done it, so make sure you do not tip. The second one is going to be do not wear your shoes inside. They simply just don't want you to track in dirt or anything from the streets. That's kind of similar to the US. Not all people follow it, but That's one of their do not do's. The third one is going to be do not wait in line for the next stall or bathroom. They simply set up cubicles and you wait by one of those and then you go in it once it's empty. This can be kind of irritating to some people because some people may have waited longer than others and other people might get in before them. So do not wait in a singular line. Here in this clip, you can see what 1,000 yen looks like, which is equivalent to $8.99 in the US. Here is some of the popular food in the Japan culture. Tofu, ramen, sushi, tea, and gyozas.
As surprising as it might be, not all cultures have the same attitude towards time. In the United States, we think that everyone should agree that time is money and wasted time is wasted money. However, this isn't always the case. In Japan, there are similarities, but there are also stark differences in how they view time. For example, in both the United States and Japan, punctuality is highly valued. So just like in the United States, you would be expected to arrive on time or even early to appointments. And you're also expected to adhere strictly to deadlines. But a major difference arises when looking at the process of making a business deal. In the United States, business deals can be completed from start to finish in a matter of days. Because typically, American businesses are most concerned with what benefits they can derive from signing a contract. And so, if both parties agree to the terms of a contract, the business deal can be moved forward very quickly. On the other hand, business deals in Japan move much more slowly. For many Japanese people, they must first develop a personal relationship and build trust before conducting business. The Japanese want to see that you are concerned about the long-term success and the long-term relationship with the company, rather than just being concerned about personal or financial gain that you can receive from signing a one-time contract. And as you can imagine, this requires a great deal of time to cultivate this type of relationship. In fact, you might find that the first meeting is entirely dedicated to small talk and that discussions about business are not brought up at all. Another difference deals with the speed at which decisions are made in Japan. In the United States, a single member of upper management might be tasked with making a decision regarding a business deal. And because there is only one person responsible, this decision-making process can be very quick. However, this is not the case in Japan. The Japanese people are much more group-oriented than in the United States. And as such, decisions are made as a result of general consensus. And since getting input from every single person in a company is an extremely time-consuming process, it can be especially frustrating for a business person from the West trying to get a quick decision from the Japanese. As such, Westerners looking to do business in Japan should understand and be aware of the differences in time commitments between the two cultures. In addition to understanding the differences in time, one should also consider the different way that the Japanese utilize space compared to the United States. One example of the use of space is in seating arrangements, because the Japanese have strict seating protocols in meeting rooms. The society in Japan is very hierarchical, and because of this, age and status hold a lot of weight. As such, the seating in a meeting room will be ordered by seniority, with the most junior member sitting closest to the door and the most senior member sitting farthest from the door. However, the seating arrangement can be useful because when exchanging business cards, one should begin first with the most senior member and work their way down to the most junior member. The different uses of space in Japan also extend beyond the meeting room. Japanese coworkers typically stand 2.5 to 3 feet apart when they are conversing, which is similar to their American counterparts. However, there is little to no physical contact between colleagues, whether they're male or female. And this contrasts with the United States, where hugs, handshakes, and high fives are very common in the workplace. In addition, public displays of affection in Japan are considered taboo. Having considered how the Japanese differ in their use of time and space, the final topic I will be covering is the consideration of gender roles in business transactions and socialization. Japan has historically been a patriarchal society, and as such, women have not traditionally had high standing in business. While times are certainly changing, women still face discrimination in the workplace. And Japanese men are still uncomfortable with the idea of a woman holding a higher position than they are in the company. But with the globalization of businesses, the Japanese understand that foreign women often hold high positions of power within a company. And while a visiting businesswoman will be treated with respect, she should develop strong business relationships in Japan before exercising her authority, so as to not stir or elicit feelings of resentment from the lower-ranking Japanese men. Men also have an advantage in socializing in Japan because of the continued discussions that occur after hours in hostess clubs. These clubs are establishments that cater to male patrons, and it is unlikely that a woman would be invited to one of these gatherings. Additionally, it would be socially unacceptable for a woman to attend one of these establishments. These after-hour gatherings also serve as an opportunity for the Japanese to develop the personal relationships that are so crucial to beginning business in Japan. And because of this, it can be quite disadvantageous for a businesswoman if she is excluded from these continued discussions. So while it is absolutely possible for a businesswoman to successfully conduct business in Japan, men have the benefit of a patriarchal society working in their favor. And next, Michelle will cover basic language phrases and appropriate business attire in the Japanese business community.
Hi, my name is Michelle Boda. I am part of Team 3, and we will be going over basic phrases and appropriate business attire for office and social events for Japan. Some basic phrases that we may be familiar with would be hello, which you would say as konnichiwa. Another basic phrase would be please, and you would say that as onijai shimasu. You would also say thank you, and how you say that would be domo arigato. You're welcome would say do ita shimashite. Goodbye, they actually have two different ways of saying it. They have an informal way as well as a long-term way to say it. Goodbye informal would be sore de wa, and the long-term would be sayonara. I'm familiar with that. I think that I've used that phrase several times. you would say yes as hi and no as EA. Those are just a couple of the basic phrases that I did research, and know that those are things that we would use while we were, in a meeting or in their country. Some basic business attire for office and social events differ for men and women. However, Japanese are very attentive as well as conservative. And by that, I mean they do expect men and women to dress business attire. That would be suits. For women, they don't want you to wear trousers, so you would have to wear a modern length skirt. The colors would be either black, dark navy, or a neutral color. You don't ever want to go there with trying to wear red or pink or something that's going to stand out because they are so conservative. For women, they do not want you to wear heels. However, you can't wear anything open-toed. So with that being said, women tend to stick with flats. Men, they don't really have a preference. However, with the suits, they want you to have a nice fabric, a good style, and shoes to match. So they don't want you going in there in a business suit with some sneakers, or they want you to match head to toe. They also expect that you wear socks. They do have traditional clothing, which is called a kimono. A casual style for a kimono would be a yukata for men. A formal kimono for men is called a hakama. And then women tend to wear kimonos with a pleated skirt over the kimono. And then they also have socks that are a part of their traditional outfits that are called tabi. And I do have a picture to show you of the tabi, which it was really interesting when I seen the picture. It reminded me of being able to wear flip-flops or sandals, because it has your shoe or your toes separated from your big toe. So these are a part of the outfit. And then this would be actually a women's traditional outfit. So you got the kimono on top with a pleated skirt on the bottom. And if you see the shoes, you can see that yes, they do have sandals on, but there's also socks. So this would be a traditional outfit for a woman. And then for men, they have formal and informal. So the formal one would be just the kimono, one piece that's as a robe. The informal, they have kind of a little bit more of a lax outfit right here. So you can see that there is a difference between the two. And that is all that I have to wrap up our presentation. And if you have any questions, you can always, ask us. We would definitely like to give you that information if you're interested. Again, thank you for listening to our presentation. You guys have a great day.